So, this is CT Anderson. CT is an amazing advocate for all things reuse and women in the field of sustainability, and we are so lucky to have her as a part of the Carolina Recycling Association podcast today. We're here at Innovation Barn in Charlotte. If you came to the Lunch and Learn back in July, I think it was, then you know how cool of a place this is. But CT actually has a shop here for Spring Clean Global. CT, would you please introduce yourself a little bit and tell us exactly what Spring Clean is?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah, for having me. Carolina Recycling Association, huge advocates for reuse and recycling. My name is CT Anderson, as she mentioned. I'm the founder and creative director of Spring Clean, and we focus on the creative reuse of discarded materials. So we want to make sure that things don't go into landfill, and in the process, we find fun things to do with them. We also have a mission to train artists on how to have sustainability jobs. So
Awesome.
we're going to be launching alterations training and sewing training here shortly.
I would love to learn how to sew. I'm useless when it comes to sewing, so I will be at the alterations classes. Do you get a lot of artists that do come in who have questions about maybe how to be a little more creative or how to take something and repurpose it, but they're not sure where to start? Like, do you lead them in a process?
You know, it's funny. I thought that that's what we would get, but artists are so innovative and creative. They don't really need our help. They come in, we show them materials, and next thing you know, they make cool things out of it. I have one example here. So this material was from a skirt that I had, some extra denim, and I don't know if you can see this on the video, but these stars at the bottom of this bag are actually hand-stitched by the artist.
What?
Yeah, she hand-stitched these actual
They're
threads.
so tiny.
I know.
Like, there's a finger. Look, that is. Look at that! That's a fingernail.
with the fabric.
That's
and so
amazing.
She took the skirt, she took some extra denim, she hand-stitched, and then the coolest part is she took out pockets from denim to make rescue pockets.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, my, rescue pockets. That's my new name.
So it's a nice little cute tote bag. It's perfect for trick-or-treating, actually.
Gosh, happy Halloween, by the way.
Yeah, so that's
Happy
why
Halloween.
we're, dressed like this.
We are dressed a little funkier than usual. But CT's always got the style rocking. And, I mean, can you blame her? You can see in the background, they have so many items back here. $5 by the pound? I'm going to be doing shopping after this. So, what inspired you to start Spring Clean in the first place, and how long has this business been your baby?
Yeah, so I started it in 2019, so we're 4 years old.
Nice.
And I've worked in corporate sustainability or some area of environmental or social impact my entire career, over 20 years at this point. And I really, really like fashion. I really, really like apparel. I like design. I love art. I didn't study it, but I've always been drawn to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm that person that on vacation, I'm always visiting an art museum and a vintage shop.
Yes.
And so after a while, my partner at the time was like, "You're really into this stuff. Maybe you should,
Yeah.
And so I was encouraged by the people in my inner circle to start it. And one of the main reasons I started Spring Clean is because I really, really care about not polluting the planet or not adding additional emissions. And so I wanted to create an organization that said, okay, you bring your stuff that you don't know what to do with, and we'll find the right place for it. So I've connected with the Carolina Recycling Association and recycling brokers, artists that can reuse the material.
Nice.
Down to companies that want to take the material and use it as insulation for their own products.
Really?
Yeah, so
Wow.
pretty cool.
Touching on that and understanding that circular economy is not only a buzzword, but it is a very real reality that we need to live in a little bit more. Whenever you are explaining the things that you do to folks here and how that affects the circular economy, do they tend to show an excitement, or do they even know how things get repurposed, and are they shocked when they're like, you can turn this into this?
Yeah, I think that's the most fun thing that people like about what we do is when we show a visual demonstration of taking something that was once, a tattered skirt, for example, and turning it into a tote bag, or a promotional t-shirt and turning it into a teddy bear. Like, we've taken brewery grain bags. How many breweries are in your town? They use the feed bags come in these big, huge bags for them to make the beer. And so when they're done with those feed bags, they're not recyclable. What can you do?
Right.
And so we've made cool tote bags out of those feed bags.
I actually have one of those tote bags. I got an orange one. They are really, really cool and have so much potential for everything. Groceries, especially for me. They are my grocery store go-to bag.
Very sturdy, very
Oh
sturdy.
gosh.
And it's a way to teach people. We've been able to teach volunteers. So someone come in for a workshop that we have. Within an hour, we've taught them the skills to make that bag on their own.
Really?
Yeah.
God, so just efficient and innovative. The innovation barn.
Correct.
That's insane. So looking at the successes that you've had with building these relationships with so many different, facets of Charlotte and the Carolinas, what does it feel like to be such an empowered woman in the field of sustainability?
Oh man, that's funny.
That's
You
not
just called me
funny.
an empowered woman in sustainability. I'm gonna use that.
Please do. Resume skills.
I'm just being myself. Like, this is who I am inherently. I work in sustainability 24/7. I eat, sleep, and drink it. I feel guilty when I'm doing something that's not, a part of sustainability. But I also tell people, like, meet yourself where you are. Like, I already have a car that's a used vehicle that works well for my family, that works well for me. And it's not an electric vehicle. It's not a hybrid, but it's also what works well for me. So I didn't go out and spend additional money to be more sustainable. That's the number one thing I tell people. I also try not to use words like the circular economy because the average person on the street's like, what are you saying to me?
Oh, fair enough. So to bridge that gap for people who may not, make those connections, what are words that you do say so you can, make that relatable, phrase for them?
Creative reuse.
Creative reuse.
People understand that. And when we get to the recycling component of it, then you're talking to industry professionals, then you can get a little bit more specific. But yeah, creative reuse is definitely a term that I use a lot.
Looking again at businesses that you work with and individuals, do you think that in the Carolinas, well, everywhere, there could be a need for something like creative reuse training?
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about alterations, let's just start with the supply chain.
Yes.
With the very first thing we do, we accept items here, usually from corporations, but we have accepted from individuals.
Okay.
And oh, by the way, the average person in the U.S. throws away 70 pounds of clothes a year.
What?
70. So what happens to those clothes when you're done with them? Some of them get donated. So say, for instance, you donated some clothes to Springclean. If you donated them in a way that the material is still being able to use as it is. So if I donated this top and it was still being able to use as a top, then Springclean will do one of two things. We'll either resell it to someone else or we'll donate it to someone in need.
Nice.
Directly, that we know that they're going to use it. Because the goal is not to pass that burden on to someone else.
Right.
The next step is maybe this shirt has a hole in it or it has a rip. Can it be repaired? That's where the alterations and repair come in.
Nice.
Because you want to extend the life of your clothes as long as you can. Well, if you're like me, yeah, repair is cool, but I always like to look cute.
Yeah.
And I want to look current and fresh and, whatever feels
Clearly
right
you're
to me.
rocking it.
So that's where we get to the upcycle. How can I take it and make it new or engaging so that I can still wear it, but it doesn't look like I've had the same thing in my closet for 20 years, which I literally have dresses in my closet that I've had for 20 years.
Yeah, so vintage.
But they're not vintage because I take the opportunity to update things all the time. And so we have workshops like that here where people can learn how to update their style and their clothes. The last piece is, there's two other pieces. There's the creative reuse. So then when we're talking about taking something that scraps of material or things that are not able to be worn as clothes or as intended, like curtains or pillowcases or whatever, then we can turn it into other items like the tote bags and the stuffed animals and things like that. And then at the very end, you'll see there's sound panels. I don't know if they can see the sound panels on the video, but here at the Innovation Barn, we accept t-shirts and they're made out of, we take the t-shirts and make sound baffles to muffle the sound. And so there's scraps left over from that. We've been able to take some of the scraps and either bulk them together to be used as insulation for other things or create our own material to make cool things out of.
Wow.
So we try to get down to, we say that our goal is to divert 90% of what we collect. And we do 90% because we haven't been able to get the 100%. Sometimes you might donate something or we might find something and we just it has to be trash.
Has to be.
There may be some bodily fluids on there, et cetera, et cetera. We
don't
won't
want-
gross you out on Halloween.
I think that could be too scary for just about anyone to think about that. What is your favorite thing whenever you do have to repurpose and make something new? What really gets like your brain and your heart going? What excites you the most if you're purposing and making something new?
My favorite thing is to take something that you wouldn't expect. So I'm making a dress right now, and I'm using the sleeves of t-shirts to make the ruffles on the dress.
From start to finish, how long does it take you? Like, for example, with that dress, how long is that going to take you?
Well, the actual time of doing it doesn't take very long. It's the prep. Whenever you're trying to be an artist or do a creative pursuit, I have learned over time that you want to give yourself time to create the pattern, think through the design, and change it. I never give myself enough time. I recently had to cancel vacation plans because I had a project that was due that I knew about 2 months in advance, and I waited till the last weekend before. Because the actual construction takes maybe a week or 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, they say that part of procrastination actually drives innovation. Or that's what I tell myself. That's what I lean to.
Fair enough.
How often is your shop open for people to come and venture through it?
The Innovation Barn is open Tuesday through Saturdays, 10 to 4. And once we start our alterations, we're going to start opening a little bit later so that when the other alteration shops close, then you can come on over.
Get what you need. That's amazing. I would love to learn how to sew and maybe fix a zipper or two that I have broken. Just learning nifty tricks and tips to extend the life of so many things. I mean, I still, it's blowing my mind that 70 pounds of fabrics get thrown away a year, and you are helping rescue them.
Doing the best we can. That's one of those things, when you think about recycling, people think about the things that don't weigh so much.
Right.
And in waste and recycling, you pay by the pound, you pay by the weight. And so plastic doesn't weigh that much, paper doesn't weigh that much. What weighs more are the clothes and the food. So if you focus on those items, then we can really reduce the waste going to landfill.
That is true. That is true. And I think that having something where, we could even maybe help folks in the Carolinas be able to creatively reuse their items, and some of these businesses, I think that it could be exceptionally beneficial to getting certain numbers down all throughout Carolinas and maybe throughout the nation.
I agree, and that's one of the things that's a long-term goal. You asked about the training.
Yes.
Being able to train people on how to do this in a way that is verified by a respected third party like CRA would be great.
We're down.
Oh my goodness, look at that costume. Can she come in the frame and show us?
Okay, so part of Halloween is folks can come in and make costumes. So we've got obviously CT here and other people who help grab things like the things behind us to make costumes. And there is a lovely lady and her son. Her son is going to be a garbage man for Halloween. Loves it. He's amazing. This costume that she's about to show you took what? 15 minutes?
Yeah, she just shopped direct and pulled some stuff together.
And it looks fantastic. So her son is the garbage man and she's going to be the garbage. And it's so creative. Come and check this out. The garbage bag.
What do you think?
Garbage included. And the garbage man. Yeah. I love it.
Isn't that
No
awesome?
recyclables on here. We're going to be very specific.
Yeah.
Very specific. No recyclables on here.
Give us a twirl.
Oh,
And a high five.
and a high five.
Awesome.
Boom.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much.
So there are so many options that are out here. You just got to put your creative pants on some days and go for it. If it doesn't work, that's okay. You just try again. I really, really like your quote that you said earlier about you have to meet yourself where you are. I think that so many people try to jump into the industry of recycling and waste management thinking that they have to know it all or have it all to be able to be successful. And it's just not true. You just have to start with where you are, with what you know, and try to learn and grow from that. Because there's so many great resources to learn, like CT here, and everybody at the Innovation Barn. They're here to help educate and push the Carolinas and Charlotte to just this amazing niche of just good in the world. And these little corners of our community is what holds us all together and pushes for a better tomorrow. As cliche as that might sound there.
But it's still fun,
But
too.
it's still fun. That's the whole thing. It's okay to be goofy. It's okay to get it wrong, because I feel like, have you ever been making something and it wasn't what you thought it was going to be? You thought you messed it up, but it ended up being better than what you thought it initially?
That's happened quite a few times. I've also had where it just was #fail. And recently someone told me, he's like, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. But when you are down, know that you're one step closer to the next win. And the analogy or the example he shared was Babe Ruth, who the same year that he had the best home run record, he also had the worst strikeout record. So each strike led him to the next home run.
See? So, small steps, small victories. Nothing is as ever bad as it seems.
Keep stumbling, because eventually you're gonna win.
You're gonna win. You're gonna win. CT, if there's one thing that you could stress to listeners here about what you do and how passionate you are, what would it be?
I can share two things. One is authenticity. I found this passion because I was being authentically myself. I didn't study design. I didn't study art. I actually didn't even study sustainability.
Really?
No, I just have been working in it for a very long time. And so when I graduated college, I thought I was just going to be a stay-at-home mom or housewife. I knew I was going to work in some capacity, but I was going to be focused more on raising children, and I have done that. However, that's not the bulk of who I am.
Right.
And so when I just started focusing authentically on who I am, these passions and these professional pursuits revealed themselves. So authenticity is one. And the second is give yourself grace. Back to what we were saying about it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to put yourself out there. I started Springclean. I did not know how to sew when I first started it. The very first fashion show I did, we have an example of that dress. I should show it. It was glued together. There were some pieces that were sewn, but there were some pieces that were glued together, and it actually is one of my favorite pieces. I'm actually going to design something like that later on. So authenticity and giving yourself grace are the number 2 lessons that I live by, and that's what's allowed me to have some modicum of success, as they call it.
That's inspiring. Touching back quickly on women in the field of sustainability, how do you think that has changed and progressed over the last decade? And do you see more successes coming for more women in the future?
I hope so. I didn't mention this before, but Springclean, in our actual mission statement, is that we want to provide jobs to those who need it most. Mm-hmm. And what's inherent in that are those most impacted by climate change, or when we don't do the things that care for our planet. Because not caring for our planet means we're not caring for the people. And so oftentimes communities or groups that have been traditionally disadvantaged or left out of the conversation fall right into that. And women are definitely a part of that. People of color in the United States, African Americans, Latinos, etc., are definitely a part of that.
Right.
Those that make low or moderate incomes are definitely a part of that. And so the answer is I hope so. I definitely have seen a change in the waste management and recycling industry for sure. It's definitely one of those male-dominated fields.
Absolutely.
And so women are now graduating from college at a faster clip, and so now we're able to help them do that.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Well, CT, I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of the busy day and the Halloween event to speak with us and give us just a small insight to your day. And I hope that we can partner with you soon on a few other things.
Absolutely. And I'm just so glad you showed up in costume, because I love that. That is so awesome. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I look forward to collaborating with the Carolina Recycling Association and any other state recycling association all over the country to help this world make a better place. And also just have some fun. Again, have fun with it.
Have fun with it and meet yourself where you are. Happy Halloween.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.